So Craig, thank you for joining me on the Randomiser sofa. I have to ask, this idea of having lots of Gerry Anderson shows in one place, available at the touch of a button, which you now do on ITVX, did you get that from anywhere? Taken
well, it might have been partly influenced, maybe, by the old Randomiser, so, you know.
Well, you know, I enjoy ITVX, as I'm sure many of our viewers do, so now it's time for your turn to enjoy pressing the button on the Randomiser.
I mean, this is a big moment in my life,
I know,
to press the button.
You know, just take it easy, it's all right. Yep.
We going in?
Yep, whenever you're ready. Oh. Anything in particular you're hoping for today?
Oh, actually, a bit of Stingray.
Bit of Stingray? That'd be nice, yes.
Yeah, but,
well.
Oh, but not Stingray. It's not to be.
It's not today.
It's UFO.
It's UFO.
But I do love a bit of UFO.
Quite an early episode. It's the Dalotek affair. But any UFO is good UFO.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And you'll come back next week. We'll see if we can improve on that.
Happy to.
Find something even better.
Yeah, we'll do.
Thank you very much. So, we welcome back to the Randomiser, UFO. I'm wearing the right shirt. And we open with Dr. Frank E. Stranges, who is being interviewed by Keith Ford. We've spoken about him on the podcast before, back when this was an audio-only podcast. He was the focus of a Fab Fact. Was a real ufologist who happened to be visiting the studio while this was being filmed. So they very hastily cobbled together this scene to make use of the fact that he was there and to, I suppose, lend a bit of credibility to the production. But as we discussed in that Fab Fact, Dr. Frank Stranges made some interesting claims. Yes, it's not obvious from this episode. I mean, it is kind of obvious that this is just padding. It's not obvious from this episode that he's not quite on the level. Because this stuff, it all sounds very credible. If you look at this series now 50 years on without knowing anything about him, you wouldn't necessarily know that this was a man who at the time was claiming to have been aboard a real-life alien spacecraft, be friends with a real alien. I can't remember the alien's name. We did cover the whole thing in that Fab Fact, so go and seek it out. Meanwhile, that totally unrelated, well, almost totally unrelated bit of business out of the way, we find Foster in a pub, oh, not pub, a restaurant somewhere, bumping into a lady that he seems to recognise. It's a very interesting restaurant. Firstly, if you are familiar with costumes in this episode, or in the series rather, you can recognise a lot of familiar costumes in the background. That guy in the background just behind Alec is wearing one of Paul Foster's own costumes.
I know her, but she doesn't know me.
Yes, they've spotted
Do you remember the Dalotek affair 6 months ago?
a lady in the restaurant.
The Dalotek affair.
The Dalotek affair. The Dalotek affair. It's all a bit cheesy, some of this, but this is groovy. I just love the funkiness of the music in this show. I think in a moment, actually, you think it's done, it becomes very calm, and then it starts going again. But yes, this is a Moonbase heavy episode. I think this is only about the 7th or 8th episode filmed. Yeah, there we go. Filmed under the title Crater 236, which we'll later find out is, well, I don't think either title is particularly standout. The Dalotek affair makes the episode sound more interesting than it perhaps is. I also wonder if the name Dalotek is in some way just slightly inspired by the Daleks, but probably not much. Anywho, it's another busy day on Moonbase. It's also another episode where Gabrielle Drake is not present, so Paul Foster is in the centre seat.
No, that's all.
Wow. Do we have a sighting? Oh.
Signing at 0135242.
Oh. See, that sound effect is a sound effect that I associate with telephones in this series.
Third signing at 0145242.
Makes me wonder, who's relaying the sightings? It's not Sid.
Moonbase area.
Normally you would get a red alert, UFO 428. We have one here. We have lots of things here. And occasionally we remember to use them on camera. That was shot for flight path. That's an alternate take. Condition red. He gives it a bit more gusto than he did in flight path. But I think somehow it works better in flight path. And this is the episode, that shot of the 3 UFOs going past. I just suddenly thought I didn't have a mic on. This episode is the source of that shot of 3 UFOs going past and one of them dropping something, because you suddenly have this very bright star in the middle of the screen, and they reuse that shot again and again and again. Sorry, I've got to. And it got so annoying because it's such a story-specific shot. The UFOs are dropping something. It's, you know, spoiler alert, it's a communication disrupting device that's going to then move off and land on the moon. But yeah, it's just, it turns up all over the place, that shot. I think it was possibly even in episodes before this one. There it is, there's the star in the middle of the screen. And as yet, they haven't established that that is something out of the ordinary. I guess at the time, on a black and white TV that was about like that big, you wouldn't notice it. But now, every time you watch this show, ready? There it is, right in the middle of the screen. You can't miss it, that there's suddenly a star in the middle of the screen that wasn't there a moment ago and is brighter than all the other stars around it.
Where are they heading?
According to the readings, back the way they came.
Wow. So who phoned in the UFO sighting? Was Mel Oxley busy that week and couldn't voice Sid?
Interceptors return to base.
Oh, Paul's not happy. You don't get anything to blow up. It's not fun.
Well, did we scare them off?
It'll be the first time.
So what happened?
Anybody's guess.
Guess. With $100 million worth of computer equipment at your fingertips, you still have to guess?
Oh.
Sometimes, yes.
Yes, this is in that period of the space. I was nearly about to say this is the period in the space journey. My brain was anticipating the line that Ed Bishop was about to say. And now I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. Oh yeah, this is that period in the series. There's the star, yeah. Is this where we find out? Yeah, this is the only shot in the entire series where that shot is actually relevant. And they reuse it again and again. It bugs the hell out of me. Yeah, this is in that period in the series where Straker is still very much stuck behind a desk. Later on in this episode, he will come out from behind the desk. I believe he may even use a ruler, but it's nothing extensive yet.
Meteorite?
Looks like it. Definitely a meteorite. With an ETT in area 017213.
Okay. Yeah, this is still at the point of the series where they've not quite got the hang of pacing in this yet. Lots of video conference calls.
A what?
A meteorite.
You videoed to tell me that.
Its ETT is almost directly on top of the Dalotek installation.
I don't think actually George Sewell is even in this episode all that much. He's in the beginning and end. I'm not sure he's involved with much of the rest of it.
Bring any of them back to the base. Use the amnesia procedure.
So, there's a base on the moon.
Contact the Dalotek unit.
A Dalotek unit.
How long to impact?
This is some kind of mining company. And I like this idea that this is a future where we don't just have the one shadow moon base. We do have other organizations on the moon. I think this is the first episode to establish that. And we also have in the responsibility seat, there's a Russian rig rolling around up there as well, and a Russian base, in fact.
The recorders are all in circuit.
And yes, we have this small group of Dalotek operatives.
Okay, good.
Who've borrowed the shadow spacesuits, oddly enough. And they catch sight of the meteorite. Hurtling towards them very fast. Kaboom. Yay. Whoever said there was no sound in space, they didn't know what they were talking about. So.
Let's take a look.
You can tell they work for Dalotek because they have Dalotek written across the spacesuit there.
I've told Foster to keep Moonbase on green alert for the next few days.
Oh. There's George Sewell, having said that he's not in the episode much.
Oh, don't talk to me about Dalotek. I've been avoiding their president all morning. What do you got against them anyway? They shouldn't be allowed up there, Alec. A private corporation has no business on the moon.
Wow.
Besides, all the valuable mineral deposits were taken away long ago. No.
Yes, we mined the whole thing between 1972 and 1973. Wow. So Straker is not happy. What else is new? But inside the crater 236 in fact.
Statistically, that was a 50,000 to 1 shot.
Yeah, a meteorite that size would be.
I suppose if we finish this session, we'd better go back and check the base. A piece of debris could have punctured the outside pressure skin.
Well, we could wait here and wait till the smoke clears and see what's in there. Nah, let's just go.
Straker.
You're a difficult man to contact, Commander.
President Barusa? Yes, it's actor Philip Latham, who's President Barusa in The Five Doctors and was in tons of other things.
Simply wanted to establish contact, Commander.
Yeah, interesting actor. There's a lot of recognisable actors, particularly from Doctor Who, in this this story.
Any trouble whatsoever.
I shall demand its immediate withdrawal.
Well, my team will be on the moon for a period of 10 days. What can happen in that time?
My command has a complex and hazardous mission. The presence of civilians in the area could easily jeopardize our security operation.
Why is Straker handling this? Aside from the fact that, you know, Ed Bishop is the series lead. Again, it's one of those things where you think, hold on a second. As far as this guy knows, because he's just the head of a mining company.
I'm quite sure there'll be very little contact with your...
What does he know about Straker other than the fact that he is the head of a movie studio?
You did agree.
To render...
What? Because, I mean, from that guy's point of view, you must think, why is the head of a movie studio calling me up and telling me off about my mining base on the moon? What the heck business is it of him? Why is he talking about a military operation? I mean, Shadow security is for the most part very tight throughout this series, but just occasionally you get those moments where it makes no sense for them to not be particularly strict about it.
Dalotek survey base?
Colonel Foster for you.
This is Colonel Foster.
Ah.
We monitored a meteorite in your area.
We saw it land quite large.
Approximately 900
Yes, this is actor David Weston, who had previously appeared in Doctor Who, in The Massacre, and then he was later, I don't remember the character's name, he was in Warrior's Gate, playing one of the alien characters whose name I also don't remember. This guy, actor Clinton Grain, again was in Doctor Who. He was Stike the Sontaran in The Two Doctors.
Don't worry, we're keeping right out of their way. Playing it
Yes.
strictly to the book.
Fine.
For which he got to go to Seville and probably sweat profusely while dressed as a Sontaran.
Make sure they're following the agreed procedure. Don't make it too easy for them.
What's happening?
Oh, communications disruptions.
What's going on? Loss of signal. Run equipment check.
Breakdown in Moonbase video link.
I don't know why I said that except for the benefit of the audience because I'm in here on my own.
Switch in the emergency link.
But this is something that happened a couple of times in early episodes of UFO that I do kind of like in this, and I think also Conflict. You have Moonbase and Shadow Control on Earth separated from each other. Here's another Doctor Who actor, and one that I find particularly interesting to talk about. This is John Breslin, who was Captain Monroe in Spearhead from Space. And I believe he spoke like 5 or 6 different languages. But there was a clip from an old sort of, not chat program, but sort of discussion program from the 60s, the very late 60s. It was on YouTube for quite a while, but it's not there anymore, in which he spoke about the portrayal of gay characters in television, and he got quite passionate in railing against the sort of prevailing stereotypes that he felt were, you know, anything but helpful. And it was quite a strong and powerful speech that he gave. Unfortunately, I don't think that clip is available anymore. But a very interesting man in a very small role in this episode.
But it all fitted.
Aww.
Have you considered the possibility of outside interference?
No, leave me alone.
Just an idea.
Dalotek.
Oh,
they're operating on limited frequencies. They could be violating the agreement.
Is there a way to check?
Just one.
I'm going to go over there and show them my sideburns. And this is actress Tracy Reed playing, I think her name's Jane Carson.
Shouldn't we receive a visit from the military?
One of the most, I would say, prolific smokers to ever appear in this show. It seems like every scene she's got a cigarette on the go, and even for this series, there's a lot of smoking coming from her in this story. It's always funny to see people smoking in highly pressurized environments in the show. I also find this quite funny. Foster turns up and he just stares at them as if that's going to sort of, you know, if I stare at you, you'll admit your crime, won't you, you naughty people? So, with a breakdown in communication between Moonbase and Earth,
We'll check that, Miss Carson.
Foster's immediate response is to just blame whoever happens to be nearest.
The geoscanner means a complete write-off for all our work. I have to be persuaded there was adequate reason for so drastic a step.
I guess they are mapping the moon or searching for mineral deposits. I'm not entirely sure what they're actually doing here. But they have this thing called the geoscanner, which seems to be taking a lot of the blame for what's happened.
And now you want to check us?
Can you think of a more logical step?
Run another communication check on Moonbase, will you, Alec?
You ordered a continuous check 30 minutes ago.
Yes.
Wow. Doesn't look like anything much is going to happen anytime soon.
I will, but not until that video link is back.
Wow. It's a lot of sitting around and pressing buttons at the moment.
Well, you've examined the frequency settings, Colonel. I think they prove that we followed the agreement to the letter.
It proves that you hadn't intentionally been operating on
It's a nice set, this Dalotek control room. A bit TARDIS-y in terms of this console in the middle of the room.
I can imagine.
Ooh. Yes, having examined the equipment, Colonel Foster is now resorting to the typical stage 2 of any Colonel Foster plan. Investigate the nearest beautiful woman.
It seemed the logical conclusion.
Well, I'm glad we've been able to change your mind.
So am I. Except now it means I'm back at square one.
Oh. Have to find someone else to
Well,
pout
you'll have
at.
to excuse me, Colonel. I have the seismic meters to service. But I'll leave you in Miss Carson's capable hands. If you have any questions, please ask her. Au revoir, Colonel.
So, do we smooch now or leave it till the end of the episode?
Jay, up here formality's a little superfluous.
Paul.
Right? Paul.
He's just waiting, like, you know, kissy time? No?
And I can see I'm right. And I suppose...
And Tracy Reed is an actress I like in other things. She never sort of exactly sets the screen alight.
Video failure. How can you? We're 50 kilometers away.
But, I mean, she was in an ITC series, Man of the World, and she was the sort of sidekick to Craig Stevens, who was an international photographer. And it was sad to see as the series progressed, she was basically kind of phased out. And then by the second series, I don't think she even appeared.
But you'll have to take our word for it that we're not transmitting.
I'll take your word for it.
Ooh.
Honestly, I don't think we're to blame, Paul. I've been very careful. So have Mark and Phil.
Well, we'll install the landline immediately.
Yeah, we can have some chats.
I'll wait for your first call.
Oh, here comes a young angry man.
Well, let's go.
I like the bunk beds.
Yeah, I think I've seen about everything.
Are you satisfied?
Look at the woman and yes. It's all, you know, textbook. It's from the Paul Foster book of picking up women. It's every stage is outlined in this episode.
Immediate for Commander Straker. Moonbase contact re-established.
Yes, sir.
So,
Stand by for video circuit test.
Shadow Control and Moonbase can see each other again. Foster is heading home. Oh no, they're laying down the telephone cable, aren't they? Because it was so riveting the first time, let's see that shot again. Yeah, good stuff. All right, so this is Shadow Moonmobile is now running cable from Shadow Moonbase to Dalotek. Okie dokie. Which means that Paul will now be able to phone up Miss Carson whenever he feels like it.
Landline installation complete, sir.
Right.
I'm going to phone up Miss Carson, because I feel like it.
Dalotek base. How's reception?
Well, our own private line. I'm flattered.
Tell me, Jane,
Gosh, he can make any line sound like a proposition. But this is a nice bit as well, with Joan listening in.
how about dinner?
Do they have fettuccine?
Beautiful fettuccine.
And a fat Italian mama who does all her own cooking.
You've been there.
I'll reserve a corner table.
And we'll sit and look at the stars.
And our only problem will be...
How the devil do we eat fettuccine through a 1/4-inch space visor?
Oh, listen, I've got a moonship
Wow.
coming soon, so I'll have to be going.
You have to imagine the conversation wouldn't proceed in quite the same way if Straker were in the room at this moment. And now we have a lunar module coming in. Everybody knows I love the lunar module. I love how slow it is. I love how it eats up screen time. I love how beautiful it is. I love the lunar module. But at the controls of the lunar module is an actor who has previously appeared in the series. He was a pilot in Conflict, not a shadow pilot. I have a feeling he was in another episode as well, but that escapes me at the moment. That prop is, that console is reused from Conflict as well, because they misspelled computer on it.
Landing is go.
Thank you, Control. On computer?
Ah no, the communications are going wibbly again. All the button pressing in the world
Radio malfunction.
doesn't do anything to help.
Switch to manual. Control to...
So, despite the fact that he's lost contact with Moonbase, the pilot decides probably just go ahead with the landing anyway. Because what's the worst that could happen?
Switch to manual. We have radio blackout.
This is lunar module. I repeat, lunar module.
And we're coming up on the first lunar module disaster of the series. No, because that was Conflict, wasn't it? This is the second lunar module disaster of the series. They were quite frequent. Luckily, no main characters are aboard. And Foster's solution, very much ahead of its time is to try to turn everything off and switch it back on again. And this stupid pilot still doesn't get the idea that maybe...
It's lunar module. Switching back to manual control.
There we go. Turn the engines back on. But it's too late. Ah, dear. Yeah, I really don't like the lunar module. It's just that it's an ugly slug of a vehicle. And it doesn't really fit the sort of rest of the design aesthetic of the series. And I don't feel that UFO generally has a sort of unified design feel. Every major vehicle kind of feels like it belongs in a slightly different series. But the lunar module, as soon as I see it, I feel sleepy. Because I know whenever it turns up, it's going to just eat up screen time. So I'm happy to see it explode. Oh dear. To do what? Oh, send another rescue unit out there. Yeah. Well, that's not good. Phone making a different ringtone noise every buzz.
Yes, Paul. But everything was turned off except the geoscanner, and that wasn't transmitting.
Oh dear, instant blame on the geoscanner.
I see.
What's wrong?
Colonel Foster's coming straight over. There's been an accident at military base, moonship. The radio blacked out and all the crew were killed.
Oh dear. This is quite poignant, where they're investigating the wreckage of the lunar module and they find one of the pilot's wallets with a photo of his family in there. Wife and 2 kids, for whom Daddy will not be coming home. I was just wondering, actually, if the extra who picks up that wallet, he looked a bit like the guy who shot the alien at the end of Survival. Probably isn't, but...
And I do have the authority.
But the project's almost completed.
Yeah, whatever it is we're doing, we're nearly done doing it. Yes, Paul Foster wants to switch off the geoscanner.
I can't allow this. Those circuits are irreplaceable.
Exactly.
Oh.
I'd like to speak to your commanding officer.
There isn't the time. And it wouldn't matter anyway. The circuits come out.
Yeah, going back to that thing of Straker handling communications with the head of Dalotek, I just feel that there should be someone he could delegate that to.
We've heard the last of that.
Or he could use a different name. It's just so strange that he phones up on camera and gives his name. And if the guy at the other end of the line had said, hang on, you're the guy who makes movies. What are you doing phoning us up and threatening our project and telling us about your military base? I don't know. Questions might have been asked.
So what do we do now?
What can we do?
Carry on as best we can until we receive further instructions from Blake.
Blake.
In the meantime, we can go out and collect our equipment from the surface. Bye. Phil, you take the area we worked on yesterday. Jane, you go with him. And I'll do the section by the new crater. Okay?
So, equipment collection. Yeah, I get the feeling this isn't a popular episode with many people. I kind of like it up to a point, but there is some padding, and unfortunately we haven't really reached the most blatant example of it yet. As Clinton Grain stops and puts his hands on his hips, examines the lunar surface. What's that down there? It's a black cylinder with a little glowing green line on it. Take some pictures of that.
What is it?
I'm not sure that matters. The point is,
Kinda does.
It without blasting.
Oh, no.
Was it damaged by the meteorite?
How did it get into the crater?
Foster installed it.
When? The crater's only been there for a few days.
Now, this is getting us nowhere. We've got to decide what to do about it.
Shall we go outside and take a closer look?
I was just going to say, let's go outside and wander around for a bit. We're good at that. Meanwhile, back on Earth...
The decision was taken by the commander on the spot. I support that.
Straker's having another conversation with the head of Dalotek. Who knows that Straker's involved with the International Astrophysical Commission? Does he know about aliens? I don't know, it just seems like Straker should be delegating that communication to someone else. I mean, Alec is not doing much. And Mel Oxley is in this episode. So who raised the flag the first time the UFOs came through? Everything's okay. We have funky interceptor music. And yeah, this is at the point where I think Harry Baird has left the series for one reason or another. So we have Gary Myers as, at this point, Lieutenant Lou Waterman, later Captain.
We've picked up a UFO.
Give me the trajectory coordinates.
And right on cue, there go the communications again. Oh dear. More button pressing. Yeah, it doesn't exactly make for riveting television. Communication problems, computer resets, and frantic button pushing.
What the blazes is going on?
Lost them again, sir.
And the emergency...
I changed my suit. I can't be dealing with all this. I do like that suit on Straker, actually. I think that's one of his better looks from the first half of the series.
Nothing, sir.
Wow. This must have been thrilling at the time. And I think on the whole, generally, I do like this episode. But I think possibly in spite of itself, rather than because of anything. I think it's partly it has a very interesting guest cast. There was John Breslin again. And this time we only have one UFO.
UFO maintaining course. Interceptors.
They can't even hear Sid.
Range 20 million miles. Awaiting missing timing and attack.
I mean, we've all been there with technical problems. In this very room where we record the Jerry Anderson podcast, in fact, we have had moments like this. We have something that Shadow does not have, which is Ross, to fix everything for us. But with nothing to do, really, Straker's just going to kind of pace around the room. And then, is he going to come to an idea? Yes.
Lieutenant Ford, will you come into the office?
I need to berate somebody, and I find it fun to yell at you for a while. Yeah, here's where we come up on the padding.
That library material we were running through the other day, is it still set up?
Yes, sir.
This is the episode that establishes that Lieutenant Ford, pre-Shadow, was a television interviewer.
Something that won't quite click into place.
Which never really came into play again in later episodes. There was a scene written for Confetti Check AOK when Ford was hosting a discussion show about UFOs, and Nina Barry is one of the participants, and Straker arrives to recruit them both.
Dr. Strangers, channel it into Commander Straker.
But I don't think they do enough to establish at the beginning that this is old archive footage with Dr. Strangers from Ford's pre-Shadow career. It just kind of looks like maybe he's got this other job on the side. And now we're going to spend a lot of time in Straker's office.
I remember all this. Let's see the second half.
Just watching Straker and Ford watching old interview footage of Doctor Strange's. Presumably they had to kind of fast forward through the bits where he's talking about his alien friend. And it's such a long drag of a sequence when you consider that the point that they actually come to, the realization, the reason that Straker has called Ford in here to look at this material is because there's something in there that he remembers that is relevant to the situation they're in now.
Number one,
it's going to be some time before we get back to this.
Flying object.
Oh dear.
Maybe it was my interview with Dr. Bressinger from MIT.
No, it was just a word,
It could be that they're so involved in other things that they haven't quite seen the seriousness of the problem of UFOs.
Let's just keep watching it. Yeah, it doesn't do much for these sequences either, the fact that you know, again from our Fab Fact and other writings by and about Doctor Strange that, or Doctor Strangers I should say. I do think they called him Doctor Strange at one point there. You know, that he was, he did make some claims that were slightly questionable in terms of their believability. So it's kind of amusing that the episode spends so much time with him, because they must have felt, oh yeah, he's a proper, respectable UFO-ologist. And this lends a boost to our credibility. But in retrospect, it really doesn't.
Yes, both our bases are in imminent danger.
I'm not happy about it. There's nothing else from the Dalotek base that they can remove.
Just about to call you. You know that installation of yours in that new crater?
What installation?
Ooh.
Crater 236? Well, if there's an installation there, Tanner, it doesn't belong to us.
Oh no. So you must have put it in there, Tanner. I am suspicious of you again. Advert break. Yep. Well, so we've got a UFO coming in. We've got Moonbase communications disrupted with Earth. And Straker and Ford are still in Straker's office watching old interview footage.
Estimated target proximity of Moonmobile.
1 minute 50.
So, Foster's put the pieces together. There's an installation in Crater 236 that wasn't there earlier. Maybe someone should go out there and blow that up.
Point of historical interest.
I'd love to see Straker's explanation for this later. Oh, it's very, very good work, Colonel. What did I do during this crisis? Oh, I was sat in my office watching old interview footage with a man whose claims were later debunked. It's all very interesting, Paul. Oh, he's found it.
Go back 10 feet.
So what's the fascinating line here?
Boats or sky balls, fireballs. The ancient Romans called them fiery discs. And the ancient...
It's a subtle way to get the name of an old Anderson show in there. Nearly got Thunderbirds in there as well. Yay! Oh, finally. Wait, hang on. How would Straker know that that's Crater 236?
ETA Crater 236, 1 minute 5.
Yeah. Maybe Paul Foster relayed the information to him that there was now a new crater, Crater 236?
Lieutenant, just as we hear that Moonbase is under attack from the UFO, radio contact is lost.
Now, I bought this electronic globe space set, and I've only used it in one previous episode, Lieutenant. So I'm going to get some more money's worth out of it today. Yes. It is an interesting prop. I do like it. But you kind of get the sense in early episodes they're kind of trying to force it into episodes, and I don't think they tried much more beyond this one, because there's not really much you could do about or with that. It was interesting to have the camera from behind the little prop there.
I assume Colonel Foster's thought of that.
Colonel Foster has sent two shadow nobodies in a Moonmobile to blow up the thingy in Crater 236.
Tanner? 90 seconds.
No time for details, but I'm confirming we're going to detonate in Crater 236. Be prepared for an explosive decompression.
Ooh.
Good luck.
So everyone's in their suits. Time to put their helmets on.
All right, get your helmet on.
I still say Foster's up to something.
We've got no choice. Come on.
And this is quite well done, the explosive decompression bit. It's quite a good stunt coming up. We just have to get past a little bit more communication disruption to get there. Oh, nice shot of the interceptors. That's an unusual shot, actually. I don't recall seeing that much.
Come in, Moonbase.
The interceptors are in position, awaiting timing and attack data.
I'd like to get an AI voice of Sid program to read audiobooks. He's got a lovely therapeutic voice, Mel Oxley.
Estimated proximity of Moonmobile.
They should be on target just about now, sir.
My God, I'm pouting again. He's done a lot of pouting this week. Oh, come on. Though the Moonmobile is another vehicle in this show. It's not quite as bad as the lunar module, but whenever I see it, I just sort of, inside, I kind of go, oh, we're going to be here a while. But the Moonmobile has arrived at the crater with the alien thingy in. The Dalotek team are bracing themselves by the console, waiting for the inevitable. That's it, blown up the alien installation, and it's punctured a hole in the Dalotek base. The men are holding on to the central console, but the woman got thrown across the room because she's not a man. There was also a quick shot there that I think also appears in Ordeal when the UFO explodes. And as also it happens in this show, whenever there's explosive decompression, suddenly there's bits of newspaper flying all over the place.
It's coming through.
Yay!
Contact AOK, trajectory 83-9-27-4.
Moonbase to interceptors.
Switch to computer link for course correction.
A missile firing sequence.
Yay! It's time to blow things up.
Straker. We've re-established contact with Moonbase, sir.
Right.
Does that mean video time is over?
What's the position?
There was an alien device near the Dalotek base.
Yes, we assumed as much.
Well, we have to use...
Yes, I solved the problem, half an hour before you did, Paul. I'm very clever that way.
Missile launch, -8.5.
And again, the aliens have kind of shot themselves in the foot by only sending one UFO to deal with all this. I like that shot of the UFO being destroyed, though.
Well done, Captain.
Yay! I'm a captain now, am I? Oh, I thought I was a lieutenant. If you're going to make me a captain, I'll be captain of Skydiver, please. Yeah, I like that shot of the UFO blowing apart, because it's not that one where sometimes they do in the show, they overlay an explosion, but you can still see the UFO spinning past.
Moonmobile is bringing them back to Moonbase.
Right. You'll have to use the amnesia procedure.
I'll take care of it.
I'm way ahead of you on that one. Yeah, this is, I think, the earliest example of Paul Foster's questionable dating/pickup routine. Yeah, it's always a bit creepy, this, where he's met a woman, he's hit it off with her, and then he has to wipe their mind, or wipe their memory of their encounter with Shadow. But then afterwards he goes and takes advantage of the knowledge that he gets on well with her to ask her out afterwards. One-line appearance there from Basil Moss as Dr. Fraser. And this scene is interesting because, as I understand it, This scene was the last scene filmed for the series at MGM Bournemouth, or if not the last, one of the last. There is footage of an earlier take where Tracy Reed is wearing a green wig.
How do you feel?
And I think if you look at Michael Billington in this scene,
Can I get you anything?
the sideburns are not, or the sideburns might be stuck on, and the rest of the hair is not consistent with the rest of the episode.
Trouble we caused you losing that lunar module.
So I guess there was a rewrite for this scene that someone didn't think it was satisfactory enough. Tracy Reed does an odd line read here.
There wasn't anything we could have done.
But it would have happened anyway.
Because I think that line she says there is supposed to be asked as a question, to which Foster then replies, it would have happened anyway. But because Tracy Reed says it as a statement, Michael Billington kind of has nowhere to go. That's always stuck out to me, that line.
The amnesia shots. But there's nothing to worry about.
Because you will see me again. I will make sure of it. For I am Paul Foster. No woman is safe from my charms, even a woman who doesn't remember me. Oh. Brief burst of old Thunderbirds music there. Do 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 do. And as she forgets all memory of the Dalotek affair, don't know what she then thinks the missing time she spent on the moon is going to be about. As she drifts off to dreamland, she has her Paul Foster fantasy sequence. Every woman has them now and again, where she is in a purple void, spinning around, her lips locked against those of Paul Foster. Oh, it's so magical. And this is old Stingray music as well. And we're back where we started, with Alec and Paul in the restaurant. Alec apparently has also forgotten everything that happened because Paul has to explain it to him.
Thank you. So the Dalotek team stayed on for a couple more days.
What, after you gave them the amnesia treatment? That seems counterproductive.
How does that old song go? Love's more beautiful the second time around. Just as wonderful with both feet on the ground. Excuse me.
He's going to do it, yeah. This is the first time he does it, so you can kind of forgive it once, but I think he does it like 3 times over the course of the series.
Paul Foster. Now, I would say you are some kind of geologist.
It's just kind of creepy that he's taking advantage of knowledge of her that she will never know where it comes from. Oh dear. It's quite a fabulous hairdo she's got going on there. And as we leave the Dalotek affair, yeah, I have to say that is... It's never going to be one of my favourites, that one. I can kind of see that the series is progressing from its earliest beginnings, but it's just, this is one of those episodes where you really want to kind of just get hold of it and give it a solid kick up the backside and say, look, you've got good stuff here, you've got good people, you've got good ideas. Just pick up the pace a little. And to be honest, if I were going to sort of take this episode and fix it, and I wouldn't dare because it's like, you know, not qualified, I would say the first thing to go would be get rid of all the Doctor Strange stuff and add actual substance rather than just the endless padding. So, you know, it's still an enjoyable episode. It's not one of the greats, but it's also not one of the worst. It's kind of just below average.